Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for joining me tonight for another episode of Between Two Sticks. We should have a good interview on board today. Just to get started, Spads, thanks so much for the resub. Um, Appreciate it so much, man. Love you, Kahuna Daddy. Thanks, man. Really appreciate all your support. I feel like I haven't heard from you in a while though. You've been pretty quiet over the last while. Hope maybe we can get some games in here in a little bit. And then also to Beast, thanks Beast for the follow. Shane, what's up, man? In the chat, what's going on? Should be a good interview today, so we'll start to get into it. But before we get going, definitely want to shout out to the Final Four teams, the Sioux Greyhounds. Congrats, Oshawa Generals. Should be a great series to watch. Can't wait to watch some of that. Then we got the Portland Winterhawks. Congratulations to Chicken Legs and his squad, Legends and we're set. And then we got the Razor Gods Hurricanes. Like, how awesome is it that these guys have come so far, made it to the Final Four after Bishop making his exit from management, and this team just kind of picked it up from there, and here we are, Final Four. A couple friends of the show, guests of the show, still in playoffs. Love to see that, and looking forward to seeing what happens here. But I just want to make sure we got a shout out to these guys here. So before we get going. So again, Between Two Sticks, your host, Bake Kahuna 03. That is me. Um, we'll get right into it. So joining me today, this player has shown determination and grit to get back from a ban and manage again. He's very active in the league and a great manager. He holds 5 franchise records for the Mississauga Steelheads in his only position, which is goalie. Welcome to the show, owner of the Owen Sound Attack, Agrigs26. Welcome, man. How's it going?
Oh shit, sorry. Yeah, I hate my selfie. I look fat. Yep, alright. Now I'm doing pretty good. Just relaxing from a long day at work. Nothing too special.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I remember you reaching out saying that you're interested in doing this. I was super excited because I think you're a great guy and I think you'd be a great interview. So looking forward to getting this one going. Hey, did you know that you own 5 records for the Mississauga Club?
No, I did not.
Yeah, you have 5 franchise records. I'll pull them up while we get going. And I'll let you know what they are. I assume maybe you would have known about them, but so
Suicide of myself. Surprisingly, I have records.
hey, but they're there. One of them is most games played. Most games played for
Okay.
sure. I remember seeing that one. But like when you have 5 records and you don't get your team back, like that kind of sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I tried getting it from Cappy, but he wouldn't budge.
No luck, eh? No luck. So I mean, I'm sure you've watched one of these before, but the way we started off is one random or interesting fact about yourself.
I'm a bridge painter.
A bridge painter.
Yeah.
That's sweet. What area bridges are you painting?
We are tri-state area, New York, Delaware, or yeah, New York, PA, and Jersey.
Nice, man. So safe to say, you're getting up pretty high sometimes and working in some interesting conditions.
Actually, I don't know if you can show this or not, but I can actually send you a picture of one of my jobs. And I don't know if you can kind of bring that up on screen or not.
Wait, we'll see. Maybe I will. We'll see. If not, I'll definitely include it when I post it in the forums. Um, but before we get going, Spads again coming through hot, gifting 10 subs. Thank you so much, Spads. Going to Polish Blues, Gumba, 7, Nigerian, Dominate, Kid Clutch, Wheeling Nails, John Payne, Shore, Mimico, and Strawnhammer. Mimico, you finally got your sub. That's awesome. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it, Spads. So yeah, when did you first join LG and how did you hear about it?
Um, I think season 35, and I was playing in Online Hockey Association OHA run by Fire Hall or Fire, and a few other people in LG like ASV Jaren. They kind of mentioned it a few times, and then I kind of looked into it. So
Nice.
like biggies.
Yeah, no, that's sweet, man. When you first joined, were you like right into it, or did it take you some time to get used to the league and kind of understand how things were going and what was going on?
So I signed up, I think the very last day of the season in 35, if I'm not mistaken. So I didn't really get any sort of action until 30. No, wait. Yeah, 34 I signed up. 35 I was TC for St. John's, like Kill Bill. Um, I got some like TC games, and then 36 Wizza gave me an opportunity to kind of play on a team, and then I kind of took over after that as owner.
Nice, nice. So what was it that made you want to get into management then?
I've always managed banana leagues, always contended for the championships year in and year out. I've won one. I don't know. Just kind of was tired of being on TC and not being a like a known person. Figured I'd get my name out there by owning, and then kind of getting myself out there, like to potentially go up to upper leagues eventually. I was looking to do it this season, but I have a. I'm kind of focused on getting past the first round. That kind of irked me a little bit this season, but
Yeah, no, that could be something to hold you back. That I got through my first one this season. Thank God. Thank the rest of my team because I still didn't win a game in the first round. So, but yeah, finally got through that. And hey, man, next season's I'm gonna call it a doable season for some of us. That we should have some high expectations for ourselves because with the league expanding and all the rules around who can manage and who can't manage, we should see some interesting teams that we're gonna be playing. So.
I just posted that picture, by the way.
Perfect, perfect. I'll take a look at it here shortly. We'll get through some more of these questions. How many seasons have you managed, and what was the best team that you've put together?
Best team I put together. I'm gonna say season 38, Mississauga, when I had one of my probably best friends, Larry, as GM, and Mimico, or excuse me, ex Mimic, who's now I think AGM for Ontario. That was pretty arguably like my best team. I felt we had a real legit shot to get to the final four that season, and unfortunately, we had to fill a void with me catching a ban that season. So, but that was
Yeah,
probably the most. That was the least toxic, always on, big family. That's kind of what I'm striving to build off of, is build it off of that season. So,
yeah, yeah. No, fair
and
enough. No, I mean, yeah, I think, yeah, you guys were on to something good that season for sure. And then let's maybe talk about that for like you got that ban in season 38. I know it got overturned pretty quickly, which was great for you, because it was kind of questionable. But after that ban, did you think you'd be able to manage again this soon? And did you enjoy the break away from management for a bit?
it was less stressful, I'll tell you that. And I enjoyed being on TC while I focused on work. And I mean, I didn't. I knew I could have got back sooner, but I kind of wanted to take a break from it in reality. So it's a hell of a commitment, honestly.
Yeah, if you want to do a good job, you definitely got to be committed, and I think that that's something that you do because I've always noticed that you have pretty good teams. Mimico's in the chat saying it was a really fun squad too, so he's kind of vouching for you there too. Um,
He's arguably one of my favorite players I've actually managed.
yeah, I remember. I think it must have been. It was after one of the seasons. I remember trying to get him off you. You wouldn't move him. You really liked him. So, I know when you say that, you mean it too. So, yeah, he's a great dude. And when he says, yeah, it was a fun squad, I'm sure it was a really fun squad. So, hopefully, next year you can get some more of that going.
Well, I mean, we still got the. I still have those guys in my Discord. Like, it's a big alumni chat. So, like, they are actually still hanging around, and they actually help some of my new guys out, kind of get an understanding on how I manage. So, actually, when he says it, he actually does mean it too. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Kieran, thank you so much for the sub. Sorry to see that your team lost, but I appreciate the sub and I appreciated you coming on the show last week. Hopefully that had nothing to do with you coming on the show and getting the Kahuna curse. But next year, I guess, buddy. All right. So you've been doing management for a while now. What do you think makes a good manager in this league?
being able to handle multiple personalities. Like that's for one, having the ability to understand the opponents. They're like, especially so with me, I don't hold a lot of. I'm not very strict when it comes to season play. Like the first, like, I'm gonna say like 5 weeks. I'm just trying out lines. So like I'm just getting a feel, see what works, move pieces to get lines for the final 2 to 3 weeks, and then go in the playoffs is when I really kind of sit down and grind. I do the studying of the teams. I look at tendencies, stuff like that, like players, player games, strength of schedule. Like I actually go in depth, having the ability to understand his stats and advanced stats, and not just strictly look at wins, losses. So there's always a telltale sign exactly how a team plays, and that's how I feel I fare well in come playoff time. So, but being friendly with the group, always being around, any questions, try to guide them in the right direction. So I know real. I always tell my guys as soon as they sign up and I bid on them, they join even TCs. I don't care. It's a virtual hockey game. Family first, real life first, and
Yeah.
then I'll. So I don't. I understand stuff like that happens.
Oh, that's good.
So
That'll make them feel a little bit more comfortable too joining, when you just kind of get that and put that right out in front of them. So that they,
yeah,
what that does, that's probably going to give them, the comfort level to come to you earlier instead of making up an excuse last minute that they can't show up, right? They'll probably be like, hey, man, I got this. Can't show up next week. As opposed to being like, hey, I got an emergency. I can't show up tonight, right? Like, so
yeah,
you'll get more of
they'll
that.
first. Yeah,
Oh, that's good, man. And that's the first time someone said that, right? Like managing, different personalities, different guys, and learning a little bit about your team. So that's awesome. Building relationships, right? The only one thing I find with building relationships I find tough is making decisions on guys that you've built relationships with, like moving them to teams, or maybe you have to waive a guy that you built a relationship with. It makes it a little bit tougher.
one's in here. Ask Mimico.
Oh.
I've traded Mimico one time. I regretted it.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's funny because I remember you actually telling me that you regretted that one time when I was asking for him. You're like, "No way, I'm not moving him." I made that mistake one time. I think you said to me was, um, okay, so 24 trades this season. Is there one that stands out to you that of a trade that you wish you did not do?
um, I'm gonna say a lot of my TC trades because the fact is, I this season was a little odd, especially with the amount of teams we had. I felt the quality of TCs that I had, I could have pushed for like a big name or like a like a true number one line, if that makes sense. But a lot of people would not budge, even if they're like 20, 22 points out. They were still trying to hold on to them. It's just an odd. It was an odd season, so I'd say more along the lines. I should have probably made more roster moves if it came down to it. If I made trades, but I focused on building my TC with quality depth coming for playoffs, as well as trying to focus and maneuver for an upcoming deal that could have positioned us in a better situation come playoffs.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. So just like thinking of that, even still, there was no one player that you wish you never traded away this season, or are you pretty happy with the moves you made?
As a person, one person I do miss being in the Discord is Balzac. But when it came down to skill set and what I wanted, I don't really see any issues with the trades I made.
Perfect. Yeah, Balzac's a really good dude. I had him on our team for a bit at the end of last season. He was an awesome guy. Really good,
Yeah.
easy to deal with too.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. So talk to me about the management on your team. Both guys seem like they're great dudes. I know Spads has his opinion on one of them, but how did they support you this season?
They put their input in. They had targets. I mean, I tried making them happy. They had a couple times where they were trying to negotiate deals. One being Chidori. This was his first season ever managing. So I kind of took him under my wing, helped him a little bit. He's still progressing as a manager, but as a player, he's still probably one of the better defensemen I've played with in a long time. Excel brought a lot of let's say OG, old, like I'm gonna say like an older approach with players that he not a lot of people knew about because he's been in it so long since he said like the season 31. So he had a different perspective when it came down to finding players, which I kind of found interesting. I didn't really have that perspective, but now since going into the second season with him as a manager, I think we might be able to find some people that are just currently getting back into it that might make a massive impact this upcoming season.
Perfect, perfect. Um, and you know what? Next question here is one of my favorites, and I know that this one's been asked about almost singles one. Um, Worst team to deal with for trades. We'll start there. We'll start with that one. Worst team to deal with for trades, because I know there's a couple times you've been in the chat being like, it's me," and it's never been you yet. So I'm interested to see who your worst team to
Sleepless.
deal with.
Red Deer.
They're popular.
Um, Trying to think. One that kept lowballing me. Um, I think it's the Spokane Caberlet. His management staff, I guess they were fairly new too, and they didn't understand like the value of particular players or positions, and they just kept lowballing me on offers. So that kind of irked me a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. I know us. It looks like Kieran agrees with you too. Like Spokane was a little bit either MIA or you're right, just didn't really have much of a understanding of value in guys for sure. But the Red Deer Rebels have been on this show a few times, so I might have to find
I can,
Mega Jer and get him in here for an interview one
I
of these
can.
days.
He actually wasn't too bad. It was more of the other managers. But something I did tell him prior to the season is they were getting the line, a third of the line. It's pastry, I believe, was the management for him.
Yep.
He was trying to get his brother, and I told him we could potentially work out a sign and trade because if this guy who I had was it's Epcot went into bidding, he would have gone for more than what he had anticipated. And I was telling him he's going to go for at least 2.5 plus, and he wouldn't believe me, and he ended up going for 4.25.
Yo,
So I mean, I kind of ended up biting him in the ass. So
yeah. That's come up here before, I think, with some of the high bids and they put on some guys. Any big rivalries? So is there any team that you're like, fuck, I'm not losing to this team tonight. I'm never gonna lose to this manager.
I can tell you each of my managers' teams they don't want to lose to. Chidori was London Knight, myself was Flint, NA pretty much. Excel was NA, and I mean that's pretty much it. I
So
mean,
there's
it just
nobody that you're just like, I fucking hate that guy. I want to win every time we play that guy.
not no. It takes a lot to piss me off, and nobody's really done that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Last stream you were asking this question of who is the most overrated line in the CHL, and I told you I'd save it for our interview. And you reminded me actually to get it on the question list, so thank you. So, most overrated line in the CHL. Follow that up with the most overrated player.
All right. So as I said, I do a lot of studying on lines. When it comes down to facing playoffs, I had an entire schedule built out for the OHL. Every single team game, seven games. The line that faced the least difficult schedule in the entire OHL. No offense to these guys, was Saginaw's top line. Their top, their win percentage was 48%. So they had never, they always faced um Niagara, Barrie, Peterborough, Niagara, and then two other teams combined, they had 41 points against those three teams out of their 96.
Damn. Okay. And you did the homework on it too. So, you're hearing it right here from Agrigs is Cockmill's line is Scrub Hunters, is what we're saying, right?
No, I'm not. I wouldn't say Ledvinka is. This was Cockmill's first time literally having the opportunity to be on a decent line. Now, there's too much. There's not enough info on him to really determine whether or not it's just for show, like, or it's just the game itself. But they did not. I don't know if it was availability issues, but they had the least difficult schedule when it came down to the top lines. And the most difficult I felt playing was Cax. And ironically, look who's in the playoffs still.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's definitely a tough line to play against. Very disciplined, and they create a lot of offense. I mean, I thought that Cock Mills line was pretty good, but I mean, when you're spitting out the facts about the schedule that they played, maybe they got a little bit of help and for some of the records. But yeah, I mean, that's a good opinion on that one. But what about player? Do you think that there's one player that's like overrated?
Hmm.
If you don't, it's
I'm
okay. But if you got
gonna
one, but
again. There's not enough tape on this guy. I think somebody that was good in put in a good position, and what I'm hearing about him, how he's gonna be like a top five winger or something like that. Um, Mills, I would like to see a little bit more consistency out of him. Prior to this game, prior to this season, they he was a negative 70 for his career up until this season.
man,
So I would like to see him have more success prior to people talking about how elite he is. I'm not saying he's overrated. I just need more proof, is what I'm saying. But for overrated, um, Abizab.
Ob of Zob.
A lot of people were inquiring about him, but I did not see anything special when I got him.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What was it about his game?
Wouldn't show up, wouldn't play, or not wouldn't show up, would show up at game time. Wouldn't play outside of it. Made a lot of mistakes, threw out pizzas. I mean, just a lot of a lot of stuff. Like very inconsistent, let's say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I respect you answering that question. I know that you were asking it last week, and I wanted to save those ones for you, but those are some great answers, and I'm sure that question might come up some more on some of these interviews because I think it's a fun one too. Because I think the chat really likes it. Spads for sure is really getting into it over there. Um, Another question I have for you is, I've been obviously like only streaming for a short period of time, but one thing I did notice is a ton like on Swifty streams and maybe even a bit on the Five for Costing group was, you love to cheer bits to get your message highlighted when you're chatting. So my first question to you, are you rich? Because it seems to be a lot. And then my follow up would be, after the first time, did you think this was going to continue? Like, is this an addiction of yours now?
I just do it with just to troll a little bit sometimes. But most of the time, I mean, Swifty, he does a lot of stuff for the CHL. But the one thing I feel he needs to do differently is he needs to do his homework. His media is strictly based off of wins, stats, and stuff like that. Just looking on like just actually viewing it. For instance, when our playoff series, oh, Saginaw in five, hands down right off the bat. Didn't even look into the series. What people most didn't notice is we won the series 3-1, and they threw their top two lines at us. I shut out their second line, and we beat the top line two times. So like, I mean, I know it wasn't going to be a 5-1 or a 4-1, or excuse me, a 4-1 or a 6 game series. I knew it was going to go seven
Nice.
at least. So, but to answer your question, no, I don't think I am. I just was very smart with my money with stocks. I'm a union painter. I make good money with that, and I'm also a business owner. So,
So cheering bits is just nothing for you. It's just pocket change.
eh, not really. I mean, I'm trying to buy a new truck, but I do it to kind of support the media because I know they do a lot of work.
Right on, man. Right on. Um, if you were able to change anything in the league, what would it be?
They actually are looking into it now, which I thought was pretty cool. I felt that anybody could honestly just drop down from the upper leagues and manage. in the C, and I'm seeing they're removing a couple of managers this season, or so what I heard. A couple teams are no longer going to have their management staff. From my understanding, one being Sudbury, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, from what I heard. Sudbury's no longer allowed to own in the sea.
Yes, that is true facts. I have heard that from Nigerian as well, that their
So,
management group, because they had the record that they had, will not be able to manage.
so they're trying to take away those types of players. They can go in the bidding by all means, but I think they're opening the door up for more opportunity for younger or like a lead like newer faces to expand the league with the upcoming Q, as well as potentially the Olympics or the International League. So I feel this is definitely a big improvement, which is something I kind of was looking for. So they addressed my concerns when it came down. A lot of people just stuck in the sea just to try to get wins
Yeah.
or put up their stats. So
Yes. Yeah, I don't disagree with some of that, like with the idea of like, hey, if you're too good to play in this league, like let's move on, for sure. Um, is this the right time to do it with bringing back the Q? I'm not too sure on that yet. I worry about next season. I'll be honest, especially with it being summer season, and if we're bringing in a lot of guys that maybe do not have management experience and maybe not willing to put the work in. I got a feeling we might be at a high level of management turnover through a season, maybe one that we haven't seen before. I think we're going to see a lot of manager turnover throughout the season, this summer
oh,
season.
from my understanding, something I take pride in is teaching people when it comes down to management. From the sound of it, I think two or three people that I actually worked with and coached may have the opportunity to get a team, or actually have a team. I'm still waiting for responses or something like that, but it's good to see new faces. But the people that are being placed in, I know at least three of them have the capability of running a team and won't be banned or quit because they're losing. So.
Yeah, yeah, well, that's fair. Okay. We're at the part of the interview where I'll open it up for a question for you. So just before you ask that, I'll just make sure I'm gonna scroll through the chat and we'll get some of those questions. There is some questions that came up throughout. I'll scroll
Roulette
through and
ball
get to as
if you
many
want.
as we can, but you got one question for me if you have one.
Who did you hate playing in the OHL?
Hate playing because they were good or hate playing because I didn't care for them?
In general, either or actually both.
Hmm. Um, there's a couple teams I hated playing, but probably not because they were good. Probably because they were, or not because they were good. It's probably the opposite because they were really bad. So like I fucking hate that there's like managers that come back every season and have just garbage seasons, just blow up their team, make stupid moves. So like I couldn't stand the guys in Windsor. Right? When even when Margot let go, like Lieutenant Dan like was just like out to lunch, I felt like half the time. So he was a guy that I was like, I didn't like playing. I was like, we can't lose to these guys. And I think I brought it up here before. There was them, even the Pete's. The Pete's was another one that I couldn't stand. And like there's teams that, like the good teams. I'm like, all right, whatever. We lose games to good teams. We're gonna lose games to good teams. Like those were games that we weren't allowed to lose. And you can ask some of the guys on my team. Like I would give the guys a pretty hard time when we lost to those teams. There was not a chance I wanted to lose to those guys. So yeah, those would be the guys for sure. Pete's and Windsor.
Not bad.
All right, so let's get through some of these questions here. There's a few earlier on. I know Spad said fuck the Guelph Storm when I was talking about winning my first series. Thanks, Spads. Appreciate that. Chicken Legs asking a question for you, and I was actually curious about this too. How was it being held hostage on TC for Crafty and Habsy's London team?
I honestly didn't care. I was working. To be honest with you.
Fair
So,
enough.
I mean, I wanted to go to a team that would use me more, but I could care less.
I can guarantee there was teams that were looking to use you more. that season. So hostage was the right word that Chicken likes to use. Kieran and Spads asking the same question. Actually, Kieran asked it, and Spads is seconding it. Who did you hate the most in management chat, and why is it Kahuna?
Um, wasn't you? Oh my God, who was the guy that kept tagging, or who just kept blowing the chat up at 3:30 in the morning every time? It was in the CHL.
I
I
don't know.
can't think of who it is. I can't think of who the guy is.
What was he blowing up the chat about?
Just mm, pointless stuff. I can't think of it.
Hmm.
I honestly, I don't really hate anybody.
I know there's a few times I got let loose to get guys to get their stats in, but it wasn't at 3 in the morning. I'm trying to think of who it would have been. I'm not sure. So if you don't hate anybody, that's not a bad answer either. You don't have to hate anybody. But so nobody.
No,
All right. Kieran wanted to know why did you never give him sexy sloth?
because he wouldn't budge on the player I wanted.
There you go, Kieran.
So
You have your answer. Spad says the most overrated player is McDonald.
no, I actually played with McDonald. He fits a two-way style. I actually like the way he plays.
Fair.
So
Shane says that I am easily the most overrated player. That is completely wrong. Shane, I am not good at the game, and everybody knows that. And I appreciate you gifting me my first win ever in playoffs, Shane. Thank you very much. Um, Shane also said ask him how much he put on his MLB team.
I bought the $100 version, and then I put 200 on my team.
Damn, bro. Oh shit. When you're good, I guess, eh?
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, it's not too much. I did a lot of offline, a lot of lucky pack pulls. I'll say that. But
you gotta get lucky when you're spending that much on the game, buddy. If you don't, then that'd be tough. Looking for some other questions. Not seeing too many here. Shores asking if you played Oshawa's first line this season?
who was their first line? I thought it was Cax.
If so, yeah. I would say it was Gax's line too, to be honest.
That's yeah, and then I thought Shore's line was too. That's from my point of view.
Fair enough. RTC saying you to MVP, Griggs.
That was one of my favorite TCs ever.
Uh,
And he asked another one. How do you feel about being possibly in the toughest division next season? I've already been in one of the toughest divisions, RTC. With biggest rivalry. Okay, sorry. This just reminded me. From the season I caught the ban, JP Nasty was hands down my biggest rival.
ooh. Okay.
He's also one of my close buddies on Xbox though. So there's like a little friend like him, Frank Z Tank, all them. Like we have a little arch like little rivalry together, but in the end of the day, like at the end of the day, like if I needed to talk to somebody or vent to somebody, them two will be there, 100%. So those two definitely. But no, that was the toughest division I was in. It was Barry's season 38, I think it was. Let me look.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
think you're right. Yeah.
so it was Barry with 44 wins, Niagara 42. Or we had 93, 90, 89 for the top three teams in that season.
It was tight.
Yeah, so it came down to the last week, and unfortunately, my team struggled the last week, and we got bounced from the first seed in the OHL East.
Damn. Nice.
So that was the toughest season,
Fair enough.
hands down.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I remember it being very tough there. I remember that season big time. One more question before we shut it down. Just dominates asking prediction for the mem winner and why.
Mm, So early season struggles for Flint was big, and the one person that kept them afloat was Buck. I'm a firm believer in goaltending wins championships. Like a guy who can steal the show. I think Portland has a very, very good shot of winning the M. Strictly the reason being Buck and their ability to convert and and keep the puck in the offensive zone and capitalize on opportunities. So,
Yeah, it's not a bad bet, man. They got a really really good team going on there for sure,
I
for
mean, if
sure,
you hold the puck and you got good tendies, I mean, there's not a lot of shots you're going to face. But if he does face shots, he has the ability to win you games regardless. He's been standing on his head all season.
for sure.
But I scored on him.
Perfect, perfect, awesome, man. Well, I think we'll cut it off here.
You don't want
Thanks.
to show the picture?
I'll put it on. I'm gonna put it on the forum
Oh, okay.
post. I gotta switch through too many screens to get it up here right now. But I'll put it on the forum post when I put it there. It is a really cool picture. I did see it. I can't bring it onto the stream. But I will put it on my forum post when I post it. Honestly, man, appreciate you hopping on here, answering some tough questions too, and answering them honestly. So appreciate you hopping on, and best of luck next season, man.
You too. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Take care. All right. Well, that does it for our interview with Agrigs26. I thought it was a good one. Sure, I know you're saying that was a very bad answer. If I was in your place too, I would be saying the same thing. But you can't discredit that Portland team. They are very good. One more thing I wanted to plug before we get going. We've gotten through a round robin of the second Kahuna's Cup. Our point leader right now is actually Nigerian with 19 points. So we're getting into our semifinals next week. I'm gonna probably do some streams on this. It's been a great showing. We had 5 teams. Everyone's has been great so far. It's been a really fun tournament. So I'm gonna try to stream some of the games next week. Definitely the finals for sure. Been a great job doing that. I really appreciate the guys. Also this Sunday we have a Between Two Sticks with LG McDonald. Should be a great one. We're going to try to do it a little bit different than when he normally gets on streams and people are just complaining about the league pretty much. I'm going to interview him. I'm going to ask him some questions about how he got into this and, maybe get his perspective on a few things and whatnot. Maybe we'll learn a little bit more about him instead of just asking when he's going to fix stuff. But we'll get an understanding of how it began, what he's liking right now, and where maybe he sees the league in the future. But great interview today. Had a fun time. Appreciate all you guys. If you haven't joined the Discord and you're enjoying the content, join the Discord. Get part of the chat. Always open to suggestions on some new things that maybe I can cover, new things I can bring to the table. And we have a channel for that where you can bring some ideas, and that's how this second coming of the Kahuna's Cup came. And there's been a few other really good ideas too. So lots to come in the future here. Discord link you can find on any of my last few forum posts. But also, guys, appreciate you guys so much for joining. Lots of new followers. Appreciate the guys putting in subs today. Spads, you're champion. But yeah, I wouldn't do this if it wasn't for you guys. So appreciate keeping this chat going and keeping it hot. And tune in on Sunday for our interview with McDonald. It should be a good one. But have a great weekend for the guys that have a long weekend. Enjoy your long weekend. Stay safe, and we'll talk on Sunday. Take care.